Hello, welcome back to another live event right here on the Total OS Today Technology channel. Welcome back. It is a Sunday evening, the 17th of September, broadcasting live coast to coast, or in this case, toast to toast, as it were. Hope everyone is doing well. Hope you had a good weekend. I just got back with a friend of mine, went out to the local Greek restaurant and took a ride down the river, chit-chatting. Anyway, here I am, a little bit later than I normally would do something like this, but this is a story that's a current story that will not go away. In the year of the Linux desktop, and the head of the the key person of the Linux Foundation, apparently, who called this 2017 the year of the Linux desktop, uses a Mac computer. We'll talk about that a little bit. So if you're stopping by, please say hello. I'll wait a few minutes before we get started, and then we'll go into the chat. So I think what I'll do here is let's go ahead and transition. And for those of you who missed this, of course you can play it back later, and I will have the audio portion of this, or the audio version, the MP3 audio version of this, on the TOS Today Patreon page. If you would like to support the channel, please do. Alright, so let's go ahead and transition here so you guys can see what I'm doing. The background music is by Kevin MacLeod from the YouTube audio library, and the tune is called Light Awash. 30-minute tune, very pleasing, comforting tune, spacey tune, I guess if you want to call it that. But there is a lot of good stuff that you can download and post to your videos, non-copyrighted music, totally legal to use from the YouTube audio library. Kevin MacLeod's Kevin's music is also on incompetech.com. Alright, so let me check my messages here real quick. Alright, good there. Yeah, I really should start scheduling these, but anyway, I'm awful when it comes to scheduling, I guess. Let's check the stream. Okay, looks good on this end. So, give it another minute or so. Let's see if anybody jumps on. Let's see, next month, the latest Ubuntu Mate should be released. Number 1710, Artful Aardvark. I've been testing it in one of my spare machines. The latest Ubuntu Mate is terrific. It is, in my opinion, the Linux gold standard, at least for beginners. Of course, the latest generic Ubuntu should be released next month, now using the GNOME shell, or GNOME 3 desktop environment. Definitely not for beginners, to say the least. If you are a beginner, check out Linux Mint Mate, what I currently use, and Ubuntu Mate. Also, maybe check out Zorn OS Lite, Peppermint OS, and a few others. But two of my personal favorites right now would have to be Ubuntu Mate, spelled Mates, or Linux Mint Mate. Actually, at this point, anything from Linux Mint is probably good enough for beginners, except the Debian version of Linux Mint. Okay, so I don't know how many people are going to jump on, so let's go ahead and get started. This will not be a long one tonight. I just realized it's still warm here. Today was 80s. For this time in Ohio, that's unusual, but I'll take it. Alright, so let's talk about the year of the Linux desktop. The year of the Linux desktop has been proclaimed for as long as I can remember. And I've been using Linux now steady for about since 20 2010. And you know, my first exposure to Ubuntu probably had to be back in 06, I think. Of course, back then Ubuntu used the GNOME 2 or GNOME 2 desktop environment, and that was my first exposure. That's one of the reasons, probably the reason why I like Ubuntu Mate versus Ubuntu GNOME. But this year, it's been proclaimed once again as the year of the Linux desktop. Probably one of the reasons why is Linux market share has gone for the first time above 3%, which is terrific, all things considered. It's not a lot in the whole scheme of things. But the controversy was from a few days ago. The head of the Linux Foundation calls this year 2017 the year of the Linux desktop, and he uses a Mac computer. Well, Mac uses a form of Unix. Isn't Unix a form of Linux? So technically he's using a Linux desktop, maybe not in the purest sense. But that's one thing. Another thing is, has anybody verified this? And if he's using a Mac, so what? He's using what he chooses to use. He's using probably because it works out of the box. Now, I don't currently have a Mac. I think one of the reasons is I've gotten so used to Windows and different versions of Linux that at this time I really don't need a Mac. The closest thing I have to a Mac would be my iPad mini, and it runs pretty good. So when we talk about the year of the Linux desktop, are we talking about the year of the Linux desktop distribution, the year of the Linux desktop different desktop environments called DEs, the year of the Linux desktop manufacturers? There aren't too many that produce Linux desktops, Linux machines for a large scale. The one company that comes to mind that has done pretty good, and we'll talk about that in a moment, is System 76, producing exclusively Ubuntu machines. And that's terrific. They were founded back in 2005 here in the States. I believe they are based out of Colorado. So what does that even mean anymore, the year of the Linux desktop? And is it even relevant? Obviously there are different distributions for different choices for not so much the hardware, but for downloading and installing a flavor or a version of Linux. Of course, there are many: Ubuntu, Zorn, Peppermint, Linux Mint, Ubuntu Mate. The list goes on and on and on. But in the many years of testing Linux desktops, I can tell you, in my opinion, there are only a handful out of the hundreds of versions out there. Really, maybe 5, maybe 10 if you're lucky, that are truly solid to be used every day, at least for the novice or intermediate user. For myself, I continue to stick with Linux Mint or Ubuntu Mate. I keep coming back to the simple things in life when it comes to using a computer. And of course, I also dual boot with Windows 10 occasionally, and my Linux Mint or Ubuntu Mate Linux desktop. So what does that mean, the year of the Linux desktop? If we're talking about manufacturers, I mentioned System 76. They've done a pretty good job. They've been selling Linux specific machines, and I'm assuming these work out of the box. I haven't bought one or tested one, but they've been doing this for 10 years now, and they've done a pretty good job. Not a popular Linux YouTuber, Brian Lunduke, uses, I believe, exclusively System 76 computers, and it seems to work for him. The one thing about Mac computers that I think why it's so popular on YouTube is that multimedia applications, Mac seems to do a pretty darn good job, and a lot of YouTubers who have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, millions of subscribers, they only seem to use Mac products. Now, somebody commented, should the level of your proficiency in technology be proportional to the number of subscribers? Not necessarily. My personal level of proficiency is proportional to listening to people who know a lot more about Linux than I do, at least when it comes to Linux desktops. But getting back to this System 76, they've done a good job. The last 10 years, producing machines are in the States and selling them to the masses. The prices are a little bit high, in my opinion, compared to a comparable Windows 10 machine. But again, if you love Linux, and you don't want to have to worry about viruses, malware in general, though it's changing, in general, you can't go wrong with the Linux machine. And because these machines are custom built to run Ubuntu, they should work out of the box without any guessing to see if graphics drivers will work, if the distro itself will work, if the specific software will work. It's made to run Linux out of the box. Now, you certainly pay for this, a little bit premium price, but it does work out of the box. And a little bit more than Windows and less than a comparable Mac machine, I do believe. So if you're interested in Linux, a Linux machine, check out System 76. Full disclosure, this is just my personal opinion. This is not a sponsored video. I am not being paid to promote or demote System 76. Simply my opinion. But as far as the Linux desktop, the year of the Linux desktop goes, there aren't too many manufacturers that make Linux hardware out of the box, at least on a somewhat massive scale. If we're talking about the year of the Linux desktop distro, that's going to be a personal choice. I'm going to stick with probably for beginners, or not probably for beginners, absolutely, I'm going to stick with Ubuntu Mate as the Linux gold standard. Okay, so Netra Amorosi is in the house. Welcome. How are you? I'm probably going to end this soon, Netra, but thank you for stopping by. I've just been giving my thoughts, my opinions on the year of the Linux desktop. What exactly does that mean? And I've also mentioned the head of the Linux Foundation uses a Mac computer. So what? Mac uses a form of Unix, which I believe is a form of Linux. So technically he's using a Linux desktop. I realize that in the purest sense. INSK is in the house. Hi. You've had your System 76 for 2 years now, and you couldn't be happier. Nice. I was a newbie to Linux, and it has made the transition very easy. Community support is awesome. That is terrific. Look, a company, they've been doing this now for 10 years or more, and you don't make it, you don't last that long if you don't have excellent support. You can have an excellent product, but if you don't have a user-friendly support system, you're probably not going to last. So that's great. If I may ask, what made you pick System 76 over, say, Windows machine or a Mac? Just out of curiosity. And were you using Linux before you bought the actual machine? And lastly, do you have a desktop or a laptop? But that's great. Yeah, System 76, from what I've seen, they've done a pretty good job in making a quality product. They also, of course, they make laptops and desktops. For myself right now, I'm happy still using whatever distros I use, which would be, of course, Linux Mint and Ubuntu Mate. I believe Dell now is starting to sell Linux machines, Lenovo, Linux specific machines. So and maybe those companies, maybe that's the reason why the Linux desktop share has jumped, relatively speaking, to over 3% market share, which is awesome. So once again, to recap, is this the year of the Linux desktop? Well, since it's over 3% usage, probably. But what do we mean by the year of the Linux desktop? Do we mean the year of the Linux desktop user, the year of the Linux desktop distribution, the year of the Linux desktop environment, the year of the Linux desktop manufacturer? There's a lot of variables here. But that being said, it's nice to see Linux above 3% if it's accurate. And to let people know, like I have for over 7 years, you have choices. when it comes to operating systems. Hello, Ben. Ben got a Lemur from System 76. Very good. Let's see. Insk says laptop was a Windows, then Mac user, and wanted more control and privacy. Insk, were you happy? Were you happy with your Mac? And do you believe that Mac has a little bit more control and privacy versus, say, Windows? Just out of curiosity. I have my iPad mini, don't use it that much, but when I do, I've been very happy with it. It's very solid. I don't use it that much because it will not sync to my Linux machine, to my Linux desktop. That's why I don't use the iPad that much. Putting that aside, it runs pretty darn good. So Ben says you're running Ubuntu and Gentoo. Okay. Interesting combination of Linux distributions. I don't run Ubuntu. I have in the past, but anyway. Hey Toss, if you do if you do a Manjaro, if Ben does a Manjaro respin, will you do a review on it? Sure. Let me know, Ben, if you do one. Yeah, I'll take a look at it. Of course, I don't mess with Manjaro anymore that much. Adam White is stopping by. Hello, Adam. Is this your first time in a live stream? I don't recall your name. If it is, welcome. Everybody say hello to Adam. Okay, so Adam says the year when people realize Linux is on their cell phone, trying it on the PC. I've mentioned that before, that Android is based off of Gentoo, which of course is a form of Linux. But yeah, an Android phone is a Linux phone. It's that simple. Well, some people realize. The people who, I suppose even Apple, iOS, well maybe not, but yeah, it's Android phone is Linux, absolutely. I don't know what my next Android phone is going to be. I love my HTC One Max because of the speakers on it, but I'm stuck on Android 4 point something. Thank you HTC for nothing. It's got to have AUR local repo and respin. Okay, Ben. Oh, so it is, Adam. This is your first time. Well, hello. Cool. Thank you for stopping by. Insk says, loved your Mac. You loved your MacBook Pro, but didn't like the corporate policies, compromises. Oh, really? Corporate policies. But I'm assuming you liked it because it worked out of the box, a little more privacy control, say, versus Windows, I'm assuming. Chip Catalano is in the house. Well, dang. Chip, you're late. Don't let it happen again. Hello. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I jumped on a little bit late, Chip. I wasn't planning. I wanted to do this around 9 o'clock, but I didn't get home till after 9. Excuse me. Till after 9. I was out with a friend of mine, and we stopped at a local Greek restaurant. Anyway, we started chatting. Next thing you know, it's almost 10 o'clock. So, yeah. What are my thoughts on XFCE? Ben, I think the Linux Mint version of XFCE is excellent. I trust it. That being said, I will probably never ever use Ubuntu again. They released the 16.04 version with a major bug in the file system that erased all of my files, and that should have never been released with that major bug. So as far as Ubuntu goes, I will probably never use Ubuntu again. But as far as the XFCE desktop environment, yeah, I think it's okay. So yeah, I know Chip was joining me late. The year of the Linux desktop, or the year of the desktop Linux. What's your thoughts? Well, once again, briefly to summarize, Manjaro XFCE rocks. Okay, Chip, I believe you. Although it didn't work out for me last year, it was awful. What are we talking about when we say the year of the Linux desktop? Are we talking about the year of the Linux desktop user? The year of the Linux desktop distro? The year of the Linux desktop environment? The year of the Linux desktop manufacturer? there are so many variables. If we're talking about the user and usage, well, sure. This year, Linux Mint usage has topped 3%. If the information is correct, I think that's great. If we're talking about manufacturers, System 76 has done a very good job. They've been doing this for 10 years. Now, there are other manufacturers today, but System 76, they've done a terrific job, and they seem to make a quality product, and they have a quality community backing it up, because these machines are fairly on the expensive side compared to Windows. But they provide the support. Of course, those of you who watch Brian Lunduke, you know that he uses only System 76. Okay, so Ben says you're going to make a Manjaro XFCE respin. Very good, Ben. Chip says try Manjaro now. They fixed the issues they had. Downloads, installs with no problem. I may, Chip. I'm just not in a hurry at this time. Yeah. I may take a look at it. Just out of curiosity. But yeah, I will... not a big fan of Ubuntu anymore. Yeah, it left a very bad taste in my mouth when I had that installed it, tried to run it as a daily driver, and it had a major bug. Anyway, but yeah, Ben, let us know when you have it done, and I will take a look at it. But as far as the year of the Linux, we were talking about Android phones too, but yes, Android is definitely Linux. As far as the year of the Linux desktop, I think it's great. As far as the controversy about the head of the Linux Foundation using a Mac, so what? Mac is a form of Unix, which is a form of Linux. And by the way, has anybody verified that he actually uses a Mac? I mean, it really shouldn't matter. He uses what works. You know, maybe he has to. Maybe he has to because he has an iPhone or iPad to sync all his contacts and information to his iTunes, and he just wanted to make it easier and use a Mac computer. I don't know. Those are my thoughts as far as that goes. Android Gentoo, yeah, I believe a form of Gentoo on Android, if I am not mistaken, Chip. So those are my thoughts on the year of the Linux desktop. We'll finish this up with some odd news here in a few moments. We'll see if anybody else joins the stream and wants to say a few words, but we'll wrap it up with some odd news. It is the weekend, and we'll go from there. I want to give again special thanks to Adam White. This is the first time on the live stream, so welcome, Adam. Adam, great to have you here. And next month, the release of the latest Ubuntus, the Ubuntu family. Let's see. Look up on Amazon, Roswell Mid Tower Case. Amazon. Well, let's see if I could do it from here. See if I can copy this. Search for it on Google. One of these. Are you going to build one, Ben? Yeah, I mean, as far as cases go, I don't. You know, I'm not picky when it comes to cases. Make sure, obviously, it has enough, well, I guess cooling vents is not an issue nowadays, but make sure it's big enough for it to do what you want it to do. Big enough fan, you know, size fan and all that. But, yeah, when it comes to cases, if I was going to build a machine, but I'm not that picky, to be quite honest. It's just a shell. But this one has 3 fans pre-installed. Wow. Adam says, cheers. Afternoon here in NZ. No, not that one. Okay. All right, Ben. Adam, NZ. New Zealand, right, Adam? Is that what that is? New Zealand? Wow, cool. If that's correct, awesome. Is it one of these, Ben? I just clicked on? Either way, it doesn't matter. As long as the case, the computer shell, the case, whatever suits your purpose, go for it. Again, it's the guts that matters, obviously, when you're building your own machine. Indeed, Adam. Very good. Well, thank you. From New Zealand. That's awesome. Don't think I've ever had someone stop by from New Zealand as far as I can remember. I've had people stop by from Spain, Australia, other places, Russia, Canada. Don McCullough is in the house. You'd go with the Fractal Design Define R5. But boy, that's a mouthful. Fractal Design Define R5. Sounds like I heard that in Star Trek, Don. Or the CM Maker 5. Ben says that's the one. So you got this. Okay, cool. 20 bucks, 20 some bucks. Excellent price. Front fan and rear fan. Okay. Roswell. Roswell. What did I say? Roswell. Yes, this is based off alien technology from Roswell. It's the official alien Roswell case. Looks like a couple USB ports in the front. Then let's see here. Typical shell, it looks like. Fan in the back. Yeah, simple. There's all kinds of choices, Ben, when it comes to, of course, you can get in with fancy lights, liquid cooling capability and all that, you know, for intense gamers. But like I said, if I was going to build a computer, yeah, I would keep the box, the case simple. I would probably want to go with maybe 3. I'm not sure if I would need maybe 3 USB ports in the front versus 2, but anyway, yeah. Ben says you're building it with your mom. Cool, nice. Doing good, Don. Thank you for asking. Terrific weather here in Ohio in the 80s and sunny. It is, well, the summer is officially over, I think. But the weather is terrific. Once again, we're listening to background music from Kevin MacLeod from the YouTube audio library. The track is called Light Awash. Hope you guys enjoy that. But yeah, good choice on the case. The price is right, Ben. Maybe next time we'll do a live Amazon bestsellers. Maybe do some window shopping. Let me take a look since we're on the Amazon website. Let's take a look at Lenovo real quick. I've had pretty good luck with Lenovo installing Linux on Lenovo products. So maybe my next desktop will be a Lenovo. Maybe. I don't know. There's one here for 200 bucks. 2016 Lenovo. Interesting. It's a good. That's a pretty good price. Probably a refurbished one. 8 gig of RAM, 3.6 gigahertz, Windows 7 Professional. Yeah, there it is, refurbished. Still, for 200 bucks, can't go wrong. This is the server desktop, and this is 264. High ratings, 5 stars. Very good, very good. You never did Linux on Lenovo. No, Lenovo seems to marry pretty good with Linux. Lenovo and Linux. Don says wishing the weekends were longer. Yeah, I hear you, man. Toss, hey Toss, I was looking at a Lenovo T43. Your thoughts of that model? I don't know, Chip, but let me look it up. Let's see what we got here. Copy that. Lenovo T430, is that what it is? Let's see, is it coming up here? Oh, it's a laptop, a ThinkPad? Well, let's see. Core i5, 2.6 gigahertz, DDR3 RAM. Well, this is used for $279. Let's see. Small screen. The RAM is okay. This one has SSD hard drive. How much are they asking for a chip? I like ThinkPads. I mean, you guys already know that, but how much are they asking for it? I mean, these specs are okay, you know. It's going to do what you want it to do. But I mean, here they're asking $279. I don't know. And these are used ones. Off lease here. The one I believe I was looking at is $249, $250. That's, well, if it has 8 gig of RAM, yeah, I would probably say go for it, because that's going to be plenty RAM. The screen a little bit on the smaller side, but for the price you can't go wrong. 2.6 CPU, 8 gigabyte of RAM. Yeah, for $250, sure. Yeah, I would say should be fine. Spec wise, it should be fine. The RAM that it has is awesome. Of course, with Linux you generally don't need a lot of RAM, but it never hurts to have a lot of RAM. Yes, I would say go for it. I'm assuming it's a Core i5, right? Yeah, nothing wrong with that. ThinkPads are good. I've had pretty good luck with them. That's why I got 3 of them. Or, well, 2. One doesn't work that well anymore. Okay, so let's go and wrap this up with some odd news, then we'll call it a night. Okay, so this is from UPI, United Press International, and let's see if any odd news catches my eye. Okay, let's see. Firefighters rescue curious kitten trapped inside car engine. Holy moly. Well, I hope the cat's okay. Let's see. A semi-truck spills chicken parts onto Texas highway. Yuck. Connecticut police track down runaway cow. Let's see here. Don says if you're lucky to have money to burn a System 76 or the Dell Ubuntu laptop would be a good direction to look. Yeah, sure. Let's see here. This was I saw that this was kind of cool. Boy granted wish to cut White House lawn, mows past presidential visit. He ignored Donald Trump. Kept doing his job. Good for him. Let's see here. Florida woman fleeing Irma wins lottery in North Carolina. Well, good for her. Calvin Klein offers $1,650 sleeves only sweater. Huh? I don't get that. But no thank you. Okay, anything else here that'll catch my eye that's funny? King Herring is in the house. Earth is flat. Yes, that's true, because I fell off on it. I fell off the edge the other day and I landed on the other side. Realtor advertisers homes quiet neighbors, a cemetery. How clever. Let's see here. Let's go to the last page, see if anything else is funny. Not too much funny stuff on this week's odd news. I did see this, the world's tallest sandcastle built in Germany. That was cool. Let's see here. Elk bulls block Wisconsin highway with knockdown brawl. Only in Wisconsin. Maryland bus driver suspended for reading paper behind the wheel. Great. First it was don't text and drive. Now it's don't read the paper and drive. Okay. Babies delivered by same officers at same Burger King 1 day apart. Wow. That's interesting. Oh, this is cute. Dog and kitten form a friendship at London shelter. Oh, look at that picture. Oh, that's cool. That's cute. And there's a big... Oh. Look at a 3-year-old Labrador formed an unusual friendship with a newborn kitten. Oh. Well, the world could definitely use more love, guys, right? That is so cool. That is so cool. I'm going to save that picture, maybe post it on Facebook. I like that. Anyway, let's see what else we have here. And that's the end of that. Okay. All right, well, Yellow Lab, yeah. Yep. Sharing the love. That is such a cute picture. Anyway. The best dogs, you miss yours, Chip? Well, when I lived in Florida, I had 2 cats. It's nice to have pets. It's nice to have pets. I don't feel the need anymore, but one of my friend I was with tonight, he has 2 cats that he adopted as strays. Yep. Pets are cool. Alright guys, well that's all I have for this one. Once again, if you missed any part of this, you can go back and replay the video, or check the Patreon page. I will have the audio version of this uploaded for patrons as an MP3 file, so you can you know, play it later on the go. But that's all I have for this one. As always, thank you for stopping by. Special thanks to Adam White, first time on the live stream. Welcome aboard, Adam from New Zealand. Cool. Hope things are well in New Zealand. Alright guys, that's all I have for this one. I will catch you on the next one. Have a good evening.